everything. Try everything.
Chapter 16. Preparations and Disconcertments.
You know you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams. Dr. Seuss.
Judy was in a state of agitation, sitting next to Nick in a cinema chair. There were music videos playing in the cinema hall, and some beavers brought beverages and snacks for everyone. Their guests were chatting, and frequently some came to the newly engaged couple to congratulate them personally. Evelyn was holding 2 glasses of carrot juice and sat next to Judy.
Hey, Juju,
she grinned, handing her one of the glasses.
Thanks, Eve.
The rabbit snivelled, rubbing her nose with the back of her paw.
When did you two plan this?
Nick and Evelyn shared a quick look and both snickered. It was Nick who spoke first. Oh, just a few weeks ago. It was rather difficult to have so many animals involved and have everyone keep it a secret, especially from you. He winked. And when Evelyn and Sven planned to marry this weekend, the temptation was too big to just ignore it.
I was so excited that I was to accompany you to the cinema, and when Sven and I planned to marry this weekend, this was just the perfect moment to get you here without raising your suspicion.
Evelyn smiled widely.
Well, I really didn't suspect anything. If anything, I thought this whole wedding thing was scaring Nick.
Judy smiled, defeated. Oh, it is. Nick nodded with a serious look, nipping on his own glass of sparkling wine.
At least we can party at each other's bachelor party today with all of our friends.
Evelyn grinned.
I hope you haven't forgotten about our little deal, sis. I'm still going to be your maid of honor on Sunday, right? Of course you are. Wait, what?
Judy nearly let her glass fall down, jumped off her chair and stared at Evelyn. And it wasn't even my idea, Nick quietly laughed. When Sven and you, Eve, generously suggested a double wedding, I didn't hesitate for too long. I think it is a great idea.
What?
Judy quickly turned her head around to Nick, now staring at him disbelievingly.
It will be really fun, and everything is prepared already so we can seize the moment. What?
Judy now turned quickly to Evelyn again. Her natural high-pitched voice let a few faces turn to them. Anyway, can you be both bride and bridesmaid? Nick asked curiously, and Judy turned back to him again, this time just staring with an open mouth and unable to articulate herself.
Sure thing, why not? We've had this a few times already in the past,
Evelyn answered contemplatively. Judy was on the brink of fainting. She rolled her eyes and tried to get a hold of Nick's arm, stumbling. The fox quickly grabbed her on her shoulders and propped her. Hey, everything okay, Judy? He asked, worried, and directed her back onto her seat.
You were joking, right?
She looked at Nick with a bit of panic in her eyes.
Right?
She turned to Evelyn but only got a huge smile in response.
Oh, I'm definitely not joking regarding our wedding.
She hugged Judy and gave her a kiss on each cheek.
Relax, sister. The most nerve-stretching are the weeks and days before the wedding. You only have 1 day left of that, and everything is already prepared.
Judy couldn't talk. She couldn't even think at the moment. Her whole body was malfunctioning right now. Nick's arm was about to enfold her around her shoulders, and she just toppled over to him.
I think this was a bit too much.
Evelyn snickered and Nick smiled, nodding, still a bit worried, but Judy sprung off her seat suddenly, grabbing a glass of champagne from a tablet a beaver was carrying past their tier. She emptied the glass with one slug, Evelyn and Nick watching her amused.
Yo, listen up, here's the story about a little guy that lives in a blue world. And all day and all night and everything he sees is just blue. Like him, inside and outside. Blue his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette. And everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around, 'cause he ain't got nobody to listen.
Nick had planned this evening for nearly 2 months. He actually wasn't in such a hurry to marry her only 2 days after his proposal, but Evelyn thought it would just be perfect to have a double wedding with her sister, and when she offered for him to share their special day with them, he eagerly agreed. And why should they even wait a few weeks or months to host their own wedding? It seemed a really great idea, and both families, Sven's and Evelyn's, agreed that it would be great to make it a double wedding. But that also meant that Judy was thrown in at the deep end now, and Nick didn't want her to feel uncomfortable, and would defer their wedding without hesitation if Judy was unsure about it.
With a blue window. Blue is the color of all that I wear. Blue are the streets and all of the trees are too. I have a girlfriend and she is so blue. And blue
Judy felt overpowered with emotions. Nick's proposal was a really great surprise, and it outdid anything she'd ever heard of someone else doing. True to the motto of their song, Crazy Something Normal, he always tried to surprise her with crazy little things, like the scavenger hunt for their 6-month anniversary. But his movie proposal in the cinema really raised the bar, even for his standards. Of course she wants to marry him. She had been waiting for this moment for quite a while, but was caught totally off guard today, and even before she could really stomach the news, Nick and Evelyn throw her a curve, a double wedding together with Evelyn in barely 2 days. She was arguing with herself in her head. If she could have planned all of this ahead, it would be a fantastic idea to have a double wedding with her best friend and sister. Wasn't she even a bit envious about Evelyn's wedding the whole time, because Nick seemed so indifferent about it? For a while she even considered proposing to Nick during or after the wedding. During all those preparations over the last few days, she realised that she loved this fox so much, and didn't want to wait another year or more for him to finally propose to her. But on the other hand, what if Nick wasn't as fond as she was? She thought about this right before she watched the movie, and now she was finally engaged to Nick and couldn't be any happier about it. Even more, they would be married in less than 48 hours, and not just a quick and dirty Zoo Vegas wedding, but a really big one with all of her family, her friends and colleagues, and together with Evelyn. It was just perfect and excelled her most venturous dreams and fantasies. She just needed a few minutes to calm down, but the sparkling wine would do for now. She grabbed one glass off the tablet the waiter was carrying along her tier and emptied it with one slug.
I have a girlfriend and she is so blue. And blue are the people here that walk around. Blue like my Corvette outside. Blue are the words I say and what I think. Blue is the feeling that lives inside me, and I'm blue.
The alcohol had a quick effect, and she immediately felt her panic and stress decrease. Judy blinked a few times and looked at Nick, who was watching her a bit worried. Had he said something to her? She couldn't remember, but he looked like he had a question.
You crazy fox!
She smiled and grabbed his paw, kissing it softly. If this is all too much, Judy, he started, but she just started to laugh.
Oh, you betcha!
She realised his puzzled look and continued.
I have no idea how you managed to keep this all a secret with a few hundred rabbits involved, but I will not let you retract now.
Nick grinned at her. I didn't intend to retract, but I was worried you could change your mind.
Dumb fox!
Judy snickered and jumped against Nick's chest, hugging him firmly. Evelyn still snickered, and Judy turned around to face her.
And you, sis!
She let go of her fiancé and planted herself in front of the still grinning Evelyn, but then couldn't find any words.
I love you too, Juju,
Evelyn finally said, and they mutually hugged each other while laughing.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide.
The next day, Judy woke up around 11 o'clock with a headache. She tried to remember last night. They were out partying until 3 in the morning. Or was it even later? Her low tolerance for alcohol made it difficult for her to remember how much she really drank. There was 1 glass of champagne she drank in one go, and she touched glasses with quite a lot of friends and siblings, nipping on her drink from time to time. But she felt as though she had drank a whole bottle of champagne all by herself. With a groan, she put her pillow over her head, but couldn't lock out the pounding inside. Judy slowly turned around and got out of the bed. She switched the light in the room on and winced immediately. She slid her feet through the thick carpet and viewed herself in the mirror. The only thing she was wearing was her new silver ring on her left paw. She examined it with a smile. It was a plain ring made out of silver with little ornament engravings. With the ring, the realization sank in. She was really engaged to Nick now. Then another realization came with it. She would marry him. Not someday in the future, but tomorrow. The thought gave her the heebie-jeebies and she giggled. It all felt so unreal, just like a dream. But she didn't want to wake up in that case. While still looking moonily at her ring, someone cleared his throat behind her. Startled, she turned around.
Nick!
She breathed a sigh of relief. The fox grinned at her and stood up from the small armchair he was sitting in. "Hey, Judy," he said with his deep voice while making a few steps in her direction. He was wearing a green pullover and grey pants and held his arms up for her. "How are you, my little party bunny?" Judy grimaced a bit, but then smiled and leaned against his body, putting her arms around him.
"Like someone surprised me with a proposal, a wedding tomorrow, and a big party with too much alcohol."
"Do you have a headache?" Nick spoke quietly, stroking his paw over her head and ears. "Poor little bunny," he snickered, "but as I said, I always wanted to seduce the maid of honor." The fox gave her a short kiss between the ears and stroked over her bare back.
"You not only got the maid of honor, but also the bride. I think you got more than you asked for,"
she mumbled but then giggled. Nick let her go and squatted smiling at her. "I have everything I could ever ask for right now." Judy smiled and gave him a short kiss, but then reconsidered and gave him a long and affectionate kiss, putting her arms around his neck.
"I nearly abandoned hope that you would ever ask me,"
she grinned. Nick put his right paw above his heart and looked shocked. "But madam, how dare you think that?" Judy snickered and beat him softly on the arm.
"Dumb fox."
He gave her another kiss and Judy sighed, pleased. "I think you should dress up and maybe we'll be on time for lunch," Nick winked at her. "I already missed breakfast because I couldn't take my eyes off of you."
"How long were you watching me?"
Judy asked curiously while searching for their bag with fresh clothes. "Oh, just 3 hours or so."
"You little pervert."
Judy stuck her tongue out at him, but Nick just laughed. Someone knocked quietly on her door. While Judy slipped one of Nick's big shirts over her, Nick said, "Come in." Bonnie Hops opened the door, and when she saw them both awake, she smiled.
"Oh good, you are finally awake. We are having lunch in about 2 hours, so I thought you two may want some waffles as a late breakfast."
She winked and then looked at Judy.
"Are you okay?" "I'm fine."
Judy smiled, but her nose twitched a little. Bonnie grinned at her.
"Well, you should drink a glass or two of water. Your head should get better soon."
The older rabbit turned around to Nick.
"You want some coffee, I guess."
"Thank you, Bon, but I will stick to tea too," Nick smiled. When her mother left again, Judy sighed and walked over to the mirror to brush her fur.
"Exactly how much champagne did I drink yesterday?"
"Evelyn and I tried to stop you after your 3rd glass, but we saw you with at least 2 more. He could hardly manage to stop grinning and walked over to her, taking the brush from her paws and continued brushing. Judy grimaced a bit.
"Did I do something dumb?"
She looked at him through the mirror. "That depends how you define dumb." Nick grinned and Judy let her shoulders and ears sink. "Your spontaneous singing performance of Try Everything was definitely not bad at all."
"Sweet cheese and carrots."
"Don't worry, Ralph filmed most of it." Nick winked and Judy put her paws over her mouth.
"He didn't."
"Oh yes, he did," Nick laughed, "and Clawhauser did a great dancing performance to it. You two should go on tour with it." Judy blushed, and with a quiet whine she turned around and buried her face into Nick's pullover. He patted her back and smiled softly. "Come on, it was really funny, and everyone had a good time." When Judy didn't react, Nick suggested, "Should I carry you into the kitchen, or are you strong enough to go on your own?" With a short chunter, Judy linked her arm with Nick's and they slowly walked to the door and then toward the small kitchen near their room.
I felt the earth beneath my feet, sat by the river and it made me complete. Oh, simple thing, where have you gone? I'm getting tired and I need someone to rely on.
I cannot believe that we are really engaged.
Judy grinned while looking at her new ring.
Don't worry, Carrots, not for long. Tomorrow at this time. You are really totally crazy, aren't you?
Judy snickered.
What if I had refused your proposal? I would have looked like a proper Charlie and there would have been an awkward silence with all those guests around.
Nick shrugged.
Apart from that, I would possibly still be getting exasperatedly drunk.
He unwittingly hugged her a bit tighter.
Hey, don't worry. Everything was just perfect.
Judy smiled, still a bit tired. They finally sat down in the kitchen, getting served by Bonnie despite Nick's objections. While eating some waffles, Nick turned around to Judy.
You should get dressed after this. We have to drive to the city. Mr. Charmander is waiting for us.
He winked and Judy raised an eyebrow.
Mr. Charmander? The name sounds familiar. Who is he? He is the owner of the jewelers. We have yet to choose our wedding rings. Cheese and crackers!
Judy gasped.
I didn't even think about that, and I haven't thought of a vow either. Do we have our own introit? And who will be your best man? And I need to nominate a few more bridesmaids beside Evelyn and... Whoa, relax, Carrots.
Nick grinned from ear to ear.
We have the whole day to resolve all open questions, but let's do it one at a time, and currently we're having a late breakfast.
He put his paw onto hers and stroked the back of it with his thumb. Judy took a deep breath.
Oh, Nick, you have totally overrun me with this wedding. I'm just worried that something is going to go awry, you know? Everything will be fine. Just let it go. I wish I had your assurance.
Judy laughed.
You're the one who inspires me with confidence.
He winked and grabbed another waffle.
So tell me when you're gonna let me in. I'm getting tired and I need somewhere to begin. And if you have a minute, why don't we go talk about it somewhere only we know? 'Cause this could be the end of everything. So why don't we go somewhere only we know? Somewhere only we know.
When Nick and Judy entered the small jewellery shop, the owner, a black flosser with a few white spots, greeted them happily.
Hello, Miss Hux. Mr. Wilde?
Hello, Mr. Charmander, Nick replied and went straight to the counter with the rings. Then he turned around to Judy.
Okay, I have already chosen a few of my favourites, but to start with I want you to get an overview and select your own favourites unaffected.
Judy smiled.
Okay, that may take a while then.
She winked at him and Nick snickered quietly. There was a broad range of rings, some plain gold or silver, some with small gems and even a few with big rocks. Some gemstones were placed isolated on the rings, some went all around, and there were even a few assembling small figures. Judy looked a bit unsure and finally asked the flosser,
There are no price tags on the rings.
Oh, I removed them before you entered the shop at his command.
The jeweler nodded towards Nick, who was looking at some cufflinks a few meters apart and smiled.
You should not be influenced by the prices.
Judy sighed and wanted to object, but abstained. She knew perfectly that a discussion with Nick about this now would lead to nothing. He was at least as stubborn as she was when he set his mind on something. The rabbit smiled softly and nodded to Mr. Charmander.
Okay then.
If I may suggest something, you should first make a decision what material and therefore what color the ring should be.
I'm a bit unsure. Normally, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, you know?
Judy smiled a bit sheepishly.
Do you want the ring to be dashy?
The flosser got a plain ring made of gold from a socket, and when Judy held her paw towards him, he slipped it on it.
Your grey fur has a bold contrast with the gold, so it is clearly visible, or you could go for something subtler in silver or platinum.
He took another ring made of silver and slipped it on the finger beneath the golden ring.
Is this silver or platinum?
Judy asked and considered her paw from different angles.
This one is made of silver. It is slightly darker than platinum.
He grabbed a third ring in a considerably lighter grey and slipped it on the same finger as the one made of silver.
You have rather dark grey fur on your paws. That makes the one made of platinum more visible, but at the same time it's not as bold as a golden ring.
Judy looked closely at all three rings, holding her paw in all kinds of different directions and lights. Nick strolled beneath and watched her smiling.
I think the one in silver is too similar to my fur. What do you think, Nick?
Nick took her paw with the rings in his and had a close look at all three rings.
Well,
He finally said,
I think out of those three, the one in silver is in third place.
Judy nodded and slid the silver ring off her paw.
I think so too.
She gave it back to Mr. Charmander, who put it back onto its socket.
Maybe you should try one ring in white gold. This one is rather dark and reddish.
Nick suggested, and a few moments later Judy had two other golden rings on her paw, each a bit brighter than the one before.
I really like the white gold, but it's a bit too showy.
Judy said her thoughts out loud. Nick chuckled quietly.
Maybe we should combine both materials then. A ring made of platinum but with a light golden accent,
Mr. Charmander interjected, trying to be helpful.
Or inversely, a golden ring with some platinum accents to soften it.
He walked over to another showcase and took a black drawer from it. He put it down in front of Judy with about a dozen rings made of platinum with different golden appliques or adornments. Then he took out a second drawer and put it beneath the first one, this time with rings made of gold with platinum appliques and adornments. Judy groaned and rolled her eyes.
Those are all beautiful. How will I ever decide which one I want to wear for the rest of my life?
Nick laughed and put his paws on her shoulders.
No need to hurry, just relax and take your time.
He started to knead her shoulders and Judy sighed but smiled softly. After spending over 3 hours in the jewellery shop, Judy had finally reduced her selection to 2 rings. The first was composed of 2 parts the same size, one in platinum and one in white gold. They were separated by a small rill and a single white diamond was worked into the surface. The other one was mainly brushed platinum with polished rills on both sides. The platinum was separated by a small golden ring after a third with a rill in it. There was also a white diamond worked into the brushed platinum surface. Judy viewed both rings on her paw and finally turned her head around to Nick, who was leaning on the counter a few steps away to not affect her decision.
Okay, Sly Fox, I think I have found my 2 favorites. What do you think?
She presented him her paw with both rings. Nick straightened up and made a few steps in her direction, curiously looking at her paw. After a short moment he started to grin, then snickered quietly.
What's so funny?
Judy was exhausted and raised her eyebrows.
Nothing, carrots.
He snickered, then took his phone from his pocket, scrolled through a few photos, then showed it to Judy. On the photo were 3 rings, one with not 2, but even 3 layers in different colours. The other 2 rings were exactly the same as she was currently wearing. Judy stared at the photo, her muzzle twitching slightly. Finally, she started to laugh and leaned her head against Nick's body.
I don't know what to say.
You two really complement each other,
Mr. Charmander said with a wink.
You two have hatched this, haven't you? It's a hustle.
Judy grinned at Nick, who gave her a kiss on her forehead between the eyes.
I solemnly swear that's no trick at all, carrots.
Nick laughed.
Okay, which one do you like better?
Oh no!
Judy gestured, averting her paws.
We make this decision together.
She winked, took both rings and held them towards Nick.
You have to try them on too.
Nick and Mr. Charmander both grinned at Judy.
What?
She asked, perplexed.
These are both female rings. There's a male counterpart for them. Just a second.
The fossil walked to another showcase and came back with 2 rings in his paw, both slightly bigger and a bit wider than the female versions.
Here you are, Mr. Wild.
Nick put each ring on a paw and held them to Judy. It took the rabbit just a short look until she pointed to his left paw.
This one, definitely! The other one with the golden half is stinging with your fur color,
she stated, and Nick considered his paw with the ring made of brushed platinum and the thin golden ring in the middle of it. After a few seconds, he started to smile and nodded approvingly.
This one it is then.
Judy made a small leap into the air and grinned from ear to ear, looking at her own ring on her left paw.
Holy carrot! I cannot believe we really have our own wedding rings!
Do you want to keep those white diamonds in the edging?
Mr. Charmander interrupted her cheering.
Are there even more things to decide?
Judy sighed and looked incredulous to the Fossa and to Nick.
Only if you want a different gem color,
the shopkeeper smiled softly.
Well,
Nick coughed slightly and Judy turned her head to him.
if I may suggest something.
He smiled to Judy, who eagerly nodded.
Of course! Anything that shortens our decision is welcomed,
she grinned.
Could you show my impatient fiancé the diamonds I selected yesterday?
Nick winked to Mr. Charmander, who nodded with a smile and went to the back room. A short moment later he came back with a black tray. On it were 2 small diamonds, one with a light purple colour and one with a light green one, each resembling the colour of Nick's and Judy's eyes respectively. While Judy's eyes grew wide, Nick explained,
I thought about getting the purple diamond into my ring and the green diamond into your ring. They resemble the eye colour of the respective other, so when we take a look at those diamonds, it's like looking into each other's eyes.
Yes! Definitely yes!
Nick couldn't really finish his explanation when Judy turned around, hugged him around his neck and gave him a passionate kiss. She beamed and Nick smiled.
Okay, it's a bit ambitious, but I think I will finish fitting them into the rings today.
The Fossa smiled and, while Judy kissed Nick again, added,
That leaves just one last question open.
Judy's ears drooped and she quietly moaned, but Nick just laughed.
The engraving, carrots?
Cheese and crackers!
Judy sighed.
Nice one!
Nick snickered, but Judy rolled her eyes.
What do you say each of us writes down an individual saying on a piece of paper without showing it, so we have a little surprise for tomorrow?
Judy thought about it for a moment.
Sounds good, but I want to have our wedding date on both and our names.
She turned around to the Fossa.
Or would this be too long?
That depends on the rest of the text. Maybe you two give me your sayings and I will try to fit it together with your names and tomorrow's date. If it's too long, I can abbreviate your names and only put your initials on it.
That's fine with me,
Judy replied and looked to Nick, who nodded.
Yep, sounds good. Well, here is a notepad and a pen for you both. You can sit down at the table over there and I will prepare everything in the meantime.
Judy and Nick each took a notepad and a pen and sat down, each thinking about a short saying for their respective other. When Judy and Nick finally left the jeweller's, it was already afternoon. They walked arm in arm along the main street and Judy leant her head against Nick's arm.
Do you already know who your best man will be?
I tried to persuade Finnick, but to no avail. He still reproaches me for getting to the Force. Nick shrugged and Judy scowled.
Any other idea?
She asked. Well, I have done a bit of research. The best man may be the brother or best friend of the bridal couple, and if one of the groom's friends is mainly responsible for the couple getting together, it's some kind of gratitude for it. He is also responsible for the wedding preparations, and in some regions it's common that the best man is the bodyguard of the bridal couple.
The bodyguard?
Judy raised her eyebrows. Well, if I want to have a bodyguard to save me from all those rabbits during the wedding, I think our chief would be an ideal choice. Nick winked and Judy started to laugh.
That would be a sight for the gods! Do you want to ask him?
She grinned. He already refused because of his lack of time, but he will be one of my groomsmen, together with Clohauser and Emmett Otterton. They all played a big role in our first case. Judy nodded.
Great selection! Particularly seeing Clohauser and the chief in a suit will be a highlight.
She snickered.
And who will be your best man now?
You have to promise not to laugh.
I cannot promise to not laugh if I don't know what you are going to say, Foxtrot.
Judy winked at him and nudged his side with her elbow. Your brother Ralph, carrots. Judy stopped and looked incredulously up at him.
No way!
She really tried not to giggle.
A fox choosing a rabbit as his best man for his wedding with another rabbit!
Judy clasped her paws over her mouth, but Nick could still hear her chuckle. He was, besides Evelyn, the very first of your brothers who supported us, and he really is a great friend now. Nick started to defend himself. Also, he was a great help during all the proposal and wedding preparations, and additionally I have no siblings, so why not choose one of yours? You have been bad enough. Judy still snickered but linked her arms with Nick's again.
I think you made a great decision, and it really means a lot to me that you not only get along with my family, but that you became a vital part of it.
Nick smiled. What about your bridesmaids? I already know that Evelyn will be your maid of honor, of course, but have you already decided who your other bridesmaids will be?
I already talked to Jenny, River, and Clara, and they are more than happy.
Judy smiled moonily. Clara is your litter sister. Jenny and River. Nick was intensely thinking, going through all of Judy's siblings in his mind's eye. As a former con mammal, it was essential to memorize even the smallest details and retrieve them whenever necessary. He had created his own memory palace for this purpose, but Judy had over 300 siblings, and a lot of them look quite similar too. Jenny is the brown one with the black spotted ears and 2 years younger than Evelyn, he finally continued, and River is the only girl in her litter that came nearly 5 years after yours, and she has a rather light brownish grey fur colour. Judy grinned, tiptoed, and gave Nick a kiss on his cheek.
It always fascinates me how you can remember all my siblings' names, even more because you really met them.
I would do anything for love.
You'd think that people would have had enough of silly love songs.
This time it was Nick who stopped and looked impressed down to Judy, who just grinned. She rarely sang along with him. He started to smile and looked around, acted,
I look around me and I see it isn't so.
Love makes us act like we are fools, throw our lives away for one happy day.
Nick slyly grinned at her, got down on one knee and spread his arms while singing, I will always love you. Judy nibbled on her lips. Nick really was a great singer, and it gave her goosebumps hearing him belting out that world-famous verse from Whitney Houston. She replied rather quick and with a soft voice,
How wonderful life is.
Nick joined in with her.
Now you're in the world.
A few passers-by grinned at them and some even clapped. Judy blushed, but Nick just embraced her and gave her a passionate kiss. Suddenly Judy giggled and Nick looked inquiringly. What's the matter, Carrots?
I had just remembered Chief Boko on my second day at work. He gave me a philippic for arresting Duke Weaselton, and one thing he said back then was,
Life is not some kind of musical where all your dreams come true.
Well, I think he was wrong.
Nick laughed. I never thought about being the main actor in your personal musical. She smiled and replied,
I really love it when you sing. You have such a deep and velvety voice. Maybe you should make an application for one of those casting shows.
You mean Zootopia's greatest talents? Nick waved the idea aside. I'm quite comfortable to only sing for you from time to time, but staying out of the spotlights, he smirked. And by the way, this was the second time you sang voluntarily in public in just 2 days.
This must be you and the upcoming wedding. I feel like I've been high on drugs since yesterday.
Judy giggled and Nick gave her another kiss. That's my plan, making you addicted to me so you will never leave me, he winked.
Mission accomplished.
She grinned and they started to walk along the road again. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening when Evelyn and Judy sat together in Evelyn's room.
Oh dear, I'm so excited,
Evelyn said while brushing through Judy's fur.
I hear ya.
Judy snickered.
At least you could accustom yourself to the thought of being married tomorrow. I, on the other hand, you've not missed much, sis.
Evelyn grinned.
Do you ever think about pulling out?
Judy asked sheepishly, but Evelyn gave her a pat on the back of her head.
Don't you dare! You are not getting cold feet now, are you?
Judy hesitated for just a split second.
No, sweet cheese and crackers.
Evelyn gasped, grabbed Judy by her arm and turned her around to face her.
Are you having doubts about Nick?
Evelyn looked a bit worried.
Or have we rushed you into this short-term wedding too much? It's not because of Nick. I'm so in love with him I cannot verbalize it adequately. It's all going too fast, isn't it?
Evelyn asked, and when Judy didn't answer, she nodded.
You like to plan and think everything through, I know, but rest assured that nobody will be angry with you if you feel queasy with this wedding. As long as you are my maid of honor, everything will be fine, and we'll find a new date for your wedding, maybe in spring. Nobody wants to pressure you into marrying tomorrow, neither Nick nor me nor our parents.
Judy smiled softly to her younger sister.
Hey, don't worry, I'm just flustered, maybe a bit of panic.
Evelyn replied her smile, and Judy put her paw on her sis's arm.
But I will marry Nick tomorrow, come what may, and the two of us will be the greatest brides Bunnyborough has ever seen. That's the right attitude.
Evelyn grinned and gave her one of 2 glasses with champagne and held the other one in the air.
2 ones, and the poor wretches that will be our husbands in a few hours.
What's all this talk about love? Ready to run, ready to run,
Nick was sitting alone in the dark kitchen looking out of the window into the night. He winced a bit when someone put a paw on his shoulders. When he turned his head around, Stu Hop stood right beside him with a soft smile.
Hey Stu.
Hey Nick. Then after a few moments,
Enjoying your last 3 hours of freedom?
Stu winked and wanted to brighten the mood, and Nick smiled a bit.
I was just thinking about my dad. He would be really glad that I'm going to marry tomorrow. He wouldn't be indignant about you marrying a...
Stu hesitated. He didn't know too much about Nick's deceased father.
You know, a rabbit.
Nick raised his eyebrows, then shook his head.
No, that would not bother him. He always was a libertine, always trying to improve the relationship between predator and prey. I think he would even be proud about me and Judy.
He smiled.
You miss him, Currently more than ever.
Nick nodded slowly and turned his gaze back to the window, looking into the dark.
I had to fend for myself rather early, and even while my mother tried to be there for me, I gave her a hard time. I never was a family-oriented mammal, and now I doubt if I could be a good husband and father. The fact that you were worried about it and all I know about you proves to me that you will be a really great husband for my beloved daughter. Otherwise I would never have given you my blessings for the wedding.
He patted Nick's shoulders and smiled.
And as far as I can tell from observing you with my kids, I also think you will be a great father too. Thank you, Stu. That means a lot to me.
Nick replied, his smile. Stu walked over to a wall cupboard and took 2 glasses and a bottle of whiskey out of it.
This is a really good one. I bought it on the same day as Judy was born,
Stu said while pouring some whiskey into the glasses and handing one of them to Nick.
You know, we have a tradition here. Every time we have a new child, we bought a bottle of wine, whiskey or something similar, and on important occasions of those children we clink glasses with it.
Nick smiled benignly.
You just came up with this tradition, didn't you? I mean, you cannot properly seal a bottle of wine again once opened. Also, a few hundred bottles of liquor with name tags on it would be quite a sight in your basement.
Stu winked at him.
Never try to outwit a fox, huh? Well, okay, it's not really a tradition, but it's a good story, and this whiskey really is as old as Judy, you know, and I think it's a good occasion to have a glass of it.
He raised his glass and Nick followed suit.
To you and Judy, and to you and your great family.
Nick clinked his glass with Stu's.
You are already part of the family, my son.
Stu proudly smiled and they both took a sip.